Oh, traveler. Why have you called me to your room? You know, it wasn't easy getting in your Serenity pot. The thunder is scaring you? Well, you mortals are all the same. Easily scared of everything, huh? Well, let me sit down with you. Come here. Oh, come here. There you go. Xiao's got you. Let's lie down. I'm just guessing you needed a comfort buddy. Don't think I forgot about our last time, cutie. Yeah, I know that's what you wanted. Well, how can I help you sleep? You just need my embrace. Okay. Lay on my chest and let my heartbeat soothe you to sleep. There you go. And I'll read you some mortal children's lullabies. How does that sound? That sounds good. Okay. Well, what would you like to hear? Stories from far away. Stories of Liyue, of Mondstadt. Oh, that's what you'd like. All of them? Sure. We can do that, I guess. Well, 6,000 years ago, Morax, a god with dominion over Xiao, was born. Morax descended on the region of Liyue, where he raised Mount Tianheng. He quelled the seas and lowered the tides. To pacify the seas, he defeated many a sea monsters, including one beast known as Baikyo. Jeune Karst was created in such a way, at an unknown point in time, with the water being drawn into an underground reservoir. Gijong, the Lord of Dust, befriended Morax. At some point, she and her people moved north of Mount Tianheng, for reasons unknown. Morax and Gijong established the Guili Assembly, which derives its name from the first character of Gijong's name, and the second character of Morax's, using his name at the time, which I'm sure you know. The civilization spanned the area between Mount Tianheng and the Stone Gate. It was extremely prosperous, flourishing under the trades of agriculture and mining, and became a trading hub. Gijong established 4 commandments to guide her people. To unite in ambition is to be steadfast and immovable for all time. Wisdom is like water. It nourishes all those who receive it, and in it is a reflection of truth. To fortify the bones, that movement can be supple when time comes. Virtue grows tall like a tree. Though there be shades, it will flourish. Gijong and Cloud Retainer, among other adepti, created the Gijong Ballistas to defend the Guili Assembly from any external threats. Around the same time, a star falls to the west of Dunyu ruins, creating the chasm. This prosperous mining area would sustain the Dunyu area for thousands of years, up until the cataclysm 500 years ago. In a past beyond memory, when even Rex Lapis would still have been young, a star fell from the sky into the barren plains west of Liyue. These plains were transformed into a huge and deep chasm in the wake of that star's descent, and jade would emerge from within, beautiful and limitless, and it would become the foundation for 1,000 years of industrial mining in Liyue thereafter. Over the tumult and storms of the next few thousand years, the redoubts of the Dunyu Valley stood tall and maintained prosperous relations with Liyue Harbor up till 500 years ago. The idiots. But with coming of the Black Calamity and the rise of the Abyss, the residents of Dunyu sealed the ancient city and departed for other lands, like the cowards they are. Now, early civilizations in Lishu region of Liyue were established at Dunyu ruins, Lingzhou Pass, Qingsu Pool, at some point either before or during the Archon War. The civilizations of Lingzhou Pass and Qingsu Pool were destroyed and submerged underwater, only re-emerging after the end of the Archon War. A story that I know that is a bit more romanticized about it goes like this. Legends say that these ruins predate the Geo-Archon's rule over Liyue. The whole of Lishu was covered by water at the time of the Archon War. And back then, this rocky outcrop was nothing more than a little islet that rose above the water's surface. After peace was restored, the region of Lishu unfurled once more as the tides withdrew, revealing the ancient buildings erected by the early peoples. What Soraya told me was that these ruins were left behind by an evil god, whose name has been wiped from the record and its people. But in the end, the sea gave way to forests and fields. The self-serving god was defeated, and the strongholds and temples of the ancient city the peoples once built were left to crumble. That is how Qingsu came to be. The ruins were submerged until the long Archon War finally came to an end, emerging on the landscape as the tide subsided. Then, the sea god gives his people a year without storms and tsunamis in exchange for a human bride, whom he had permitted to return to the surface world, caused the destruction of her village after she asked for the sea god's aid for many generations, when her daughter was to be taken away from her to be offered as his bride. The sea god looked majestic indeed as he sat center stage in a giant clam, holding in his hands the reins of 2 sea serpents. They stood as imposing as Mount Tianheng before the royal carriage, as their master accepted the gifts of pearls from the village elders and welcomed his new bride aboard the carriage. In return, the village would receive the sea god's blessing, a year from tempests and tsunamis. The sea god responded to the call, rising up from the billowing waves to greet the village, but his embrace was a tidal wave that engulfed the village and took the villagers and elders in their sleep. That is a romanticized version. Next is Havria, the god of salt. She established her domain in Liyue. The original expanse of her territory is still unknown, but it includes Saltre. She was known for being gentle and kind-hearted, but weak. It is theorized that Liyue's flower ball wedding tradition may have derived from Havria's act of handing out bunches of flowers to her followers. As someone as old as I am, I can tell you, that is pretty much the case. The village at Wuong Hill is established around this time, and it would exist in relative peace until sometime after Liyue Harbor was established, after which the bewitching song of a whale-like sea monster led all the youths of the village to their doom, and its elders died with no one to carry on the village. This creature still exists today as a sea serpent, and I'm very well sure that you have fought it before. Where? Legend says it keeps its place in the waters of Jinza. Now here's where I come in. This is the Archon War. Many gods fought for the sake of their ideals, for a prosperous humanity. That which lurks within and animates this relic are the divine remains of lamenting gods. They are unrealized ideals, designed for a prosperous humanity that could never be. That is the legend from a relic that Morax told me, but for the life of me I cannot remember what it was. During the Archon War, the infighting amongst gods was but one cause of the conflict in Teyvat. Other creatures and entities also sought to expand their domains, taking advantage of the chaos to encroach on the continent. In Liyue, legends of sea monsters are commonplace due to the Other Shore, a region that lies outside of Teyvat. People in ancient times would use the bones of such sea monsters as figureheads on their ships to frighten away the beasts. Then, 3,000 years ago, Ganyu was born. Sometime either before or during the Archon War. And she later participates in the war to protect Liyue Harbor and signed a contract with Morax. And about 2,000 years ago, Morax hears the pleads of Azhdaha, a blind geo-elemental dragon who dwelt beneath the mountains of Nianchen. He takes pity on the dragon and takes it above ground, bestowing sight upon it with just a torch. They form a contract, where Azhdaha agrees not to endanger humanity in exchange for living alongside them. Azhdaha then aids Morax in battles across Teyvat. Traveler? Traveler? You're asleep. Was I really that boring? Yeah. You have a good night, traveler. I'll fall asleep with you. Well, I hope you enjoyed a little bit of the history. Some that I lived through, some that I didn't. But I hope you enjoyed regardless. Now let me curl up with you, traveler. You smell so wonderful. I don't know if you're faking sleeping or not. I'm sure you can hear everything I'm saying. Oh, good night, traveler. You are one of a kind. You really are. Look at me. saying these things to bring out the best of me. Good night, beautiful.